Every single day, we see collisions all around us. A little fender bender, a baseball just rocketing off a bat, even a simple high five. And they all seem totally different, right? But what if I told you that under the surface, every single one of those impacts follows the exact same unbreakable law of physics? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to uncover the hidden rules that govern them all.
So what is the hidden thread that ties together a car crash, a home run, and a wild Hollywood shootout? I mean, they couldn't seem more different. But as you're about to see, they are all playing by the exact same rulebook.
And here's the really fascinating paradox of it all. In a car crash, your one and only goal is to survive the impact, right? You want to make that force feel as small as possible. But when you're hitting a baseball, you want the complete opposite. You want to maximize the impact to send that thing into orbit. So how is it even possible to control the outcome of a collision so perfectly?
Okay, here's our game plan to figure that out. First, we'll look at what governs a collision. Then we'll get into the great conservation law it follows. After that, we're going to learn how to hack the impact using something called impulse, see how that's used to save lives and win games. And finally, we'll use everything we've learned to bust a classic Hollywood myth.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. The main character in the story of any collision is a little thing called momentum.
So what is momentum, really? Well, the physics textbook definition is an object's mass multiplied by its velocity, but honestly, a much better way to think about it is unstoppability. Yeah, a huge truck rolling along slowly could have the same unstoppability, the same momentum as a tiny baseball moving super fast. It's just a measure of how hard it would be to bring that thing to a dead stop.
Now here's where it gets really cool. Momentum isn't just some useful measurement. Nope, it follows one of the most fundamental, absolutely unbreakable laws in the entire universe.
And this is it, the law of momentum conservation. It says that in any collision, as long as no outside forces are messing with it, momentum is never created and it's never destroyed. It just gets passed around. The total amount of momentum in a system before a crash and after a crash is always, and I mean always, exactly the same. It is conserved.
Let's make this super simple. Think about it like money. Let's say Jack and Jill together have $200. If Jack gives Jill $50, well, his account goes down by 50 and hers goes up by 50. But the total amount of money between them is still $200, right? Nothing changed. Momentum works the exact same way. The momentum one object loses is perfectly gained by the other. The total never changes.
And this isn't just a clever idea. It's something physicists test all the time. In labs, they use these amazing, nearly frictionless air tracks. They can measure the momentum of these little gliders with incredible precision before they collide and after they collide, and guess what? Every single time, the total momentum is identical. The law just works.
Okay, so if the total change in momentum is set in stone, how do we control the outcome? How do we get to choose between a gentle impact and a massive one? Well, the answer, my friends, is a brilliant little hack called impulse. Impulse is really just another name for the change in momentum. But look at how we calculate it. It's the force of an impact multiplied by the time that force is applied. And that relationship, that is the secret. That is the key to everything.
If we rearrange that formula a little bit, we get this incredibly powerful equation. It says that the force of an impact is equal to the change in momentum, that's the impulse, divided by the time of the impact. This one little formula is behind basically all of modern safety engineering and sports science. It's that important.
And here is the big aha moment. Since the total change in momentum, that delta P, is fixed, the universe won't let us change it. The only lever we can pull to change the force we feel is the time, the delta T. It's the only thing we can control. So if you want to feel a really small force, you make the collision last a really long time. And if you want a massive force, you make it happen in a split second.
Okay, so let's see how this one simple idea is used all over the place in the real world, both for saving lives and for winning championships. So, let's talk about surviving an impact. An airbag, a padded dashboard, the crumple zone on the front of your car, what's the one thing they all do? They all increase the amount of time it takes for you to stop. By stretching out the duration of that collision, they massively reduce the force your body feels. You even do this instinctively. When you jump off of something, you bend your knees when you land, right? You're using physics to spread out the impact over time.
The classic egg throw experiment is the perfect way to see this. You throw an egg at a brick wall.
The collision is over in an instant. The force is huge and splat. But take that same egg, throw it with the same speed into a big, soft bed sheet. The sheet gives way, extending the time of the impact for maybe half a second. The force is now tiny, and the egg is perfectly fine. Same change in momentum, totally different outcome.
Now let's flip it around. What if you want to maximize the impact? Well, in baseball, coaches are always screaming, follow through, follow through. Why? Because by keeping the bat on the ball for just a few extra milliseconds, they're increasing the time of the impact. And that longer time delivers a bigger impulse, which means the ball leaves the bat with way more speed and goes way farther.
So now that we are armed with all of this knowledge, we can finally take on one of Hollywood's all-time favorite and most scientifically wrong action movie tropes.
The logic here is actually incredibly simple, and it comes right back to our conservation law. Remember, the forward momentum of the bullet has to be exactly equal and opposite to the backward momentum of the gun, what we call recoil. So, if the person firing the gun doesn't go flying backwards, how could the bullet possibly send the target flying backwards?
And you can actually do the math on this. For a realistic bullet hitting, say, a 65-kilogram person, the speed they would actually gain from that impact is just 0.18 meters per second. That is not a dramatic flight through a plate glass window. That's barely a shuffle. It's ridiculously slow.
So, there you have it. On the left, you've got the awesome-looking Hollywood fantasy. And on the right, you've got the much less dramatic reality that's dictated by the laws of physics. It might not look as cool, but that's just how the universe works.
And really, that's the big idea here. We can't ever break the law of conservation of momentum. It's fundamental. But by understanding impulse, that relationship between force and time, we can totally manipulate the outcomes. We can engineer things to either keep us safe or to help us win. We make the law work for us.
But all of this leads to one final, much deeper question. Why? Why is momentum conserved in the first place? And the answer is just beautiful. It's because the universe has a fundamental symmetry. The laws of physics are the same here as they are on the other side of the galaxy. They don't change with location. And that symmetry is what gives rise to this law. It's one of the most profound ideas in all of science. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other unbreakable laws are out there just waiting to be discovered, born from the other symmetries of our universe?